Quantum organization, strategy structure, aligning business goals with the right organizational design. Hi, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked in the rush to grow, how well strategy and structure align. I've seen organizations come up with brilliant strategies, only to struggle because their organizational design doesn't support execution. Wouldn't it be great if companies didn't just focus on what they want to achieve, but also on how they are structured to make it happen? I would suggest that a great strategy without the right structure is like having a destination without a clear path to get there. Many organizations treat strategy as a visionary exercise, where leadership defines ambitious goals, but never looks at whether their teams, processes, and decision-making frameworks are set up to deliver. The result? Bottlenecks, slow execution, misalignment, and employees struggling to make sense of priorities. I've noticed that the most effective organizations don't just design a strategy and hope for the best. They intentionally create structures that enable success. This means ensuring that decision-making is distributed rather than bottlenecked at the top, that teams are empowered to act autonomously, and that communication flows freely across departments rather than getting trapped in silos. Wouldn't it be great if companies were structured to support fast execution and adaptability rather than creating layers of bureaucracy? I've seen companies struggle because their structures were built for a different era. A startup that scales rapidly but still operates like a small team eventually hits a wall where leaders are stretched too thin and employees don't know who owns what. On the flip side, a large company that maintains rigid hierarchies and slow approval processes ends up losing its ability to innovate because every decision takes too long. I would suggest that strategy and structure should evolve together, rather than treating structure as something that never changes. Wouldn't it be great if organizations were designed with fluidity rather than rigidity? Many companies are still structured in a way that assumes predictability, with fixed roles, predefined reporting lines, and top-down decision-making. But the reality is, today's business environment is constantly shifting. Companies that build flexibility into their structures, where teams can self-organize, adjust priorities quickly, and align resources dynamically, are the ones that succeed long-term. It's interesting how often companies set big goals, but don't make the necessary structural shifts to support them. A company might say it wants to become more innovative, but if employees are buried in red tape and approvals, creativity never makes it to execution. Another company might push for global expansion, but if teams are still operating in isolated silos, scaling becomes chaotic. I would suggest that the best companies don't just state their goals. They ask, are we actually structured to make this happen? I've noticed that companies that truly align strategy and structure don't just push change down from the top. They engage employees in shaping the way the organization operates. When employees understand why certain structures exist and how they can be improved, they don't just follow the system, they actively contribute to making it better. Wouldn't it be great if teams felt like co-creators of the organization rather than just people working within it? I would suggest that aligning strategy with structure isn't a one-time fix. It's an ongoing process of refinement, learning, and evolution. The best organizations constantly assess whether their structure is enabling or blocking success. Wouldn't it be great if more companies saw organizational design not as a set framework, but as a dynamic system that adapts as strategy evolves? The real question is, are we structuring our organizations for agility and success, or are we unintentionally creating barriers to achieving our goals?